Hello. I'm just gonna assume that I can be heard right now because I did unmute myself. Fleshy instruments. What are you, stupid? What are you, stupid? Okay. Um, we are not going to get started quite yet. I'm gonna take off my Apple Watch actually. That looks stupid. Apple Watch looks stupid. You can see my tan line on my hand now. And my thin wrists that are just prone to breaking. I do a push up and my wrists just snap. Okay. Um, we're going to put all of this stuff off to the side for now, and I just want to show you this neat little book that I have before we get started. Before we get streaming. I'm gonna turn that because I don't know. Are the pages very glossy? The pages are very glossy, aren't they? Oh, that's not too bad. Okay. Anyways, um, I just wanted to show off this neat little book that I have right here. It's called Framed Ink, and this book here is essentially just for, well, I guess what it says, drawing and composition for visual storytellers. We'll get that with the light there. Let's tilt the light. Does tilting the light up work any better? I just need like a diffuser, like a sheet of paper above this, it seems. We'll turn it that way a bit. Yeah, that diffuses it slightly. I need to get a diffuser for it, bear with me. But yeah, I just wanted to show off this book before we get done because I just think that it's very cool because it deals heavily with, well, composition. And when you're wanting to be a visual storyteller, I think composition is probably one of the most important things that you can study. And I'm trying to get better at it. I really am. There's a lot of really, really good stuff in here, and it sort of like breaks down, those visual things that we see that maybe we haven't quite put a name to yet. So we see a lot of just like, like, what's a close up? Oh, a close up is this right here. I keep cutting out. What do you mean I keep cutting out? I don't know what that means. Maybe I keep on cutting out for you because I'm looking at my stream right here and it doesn't look like it's cutting out, really. We're just gonna chalk it down to you're crazy, you're insane. So, where was I? Yeah, like perspective. Like, what's perspective? Okay, so I mean, like, we're just gonna jump into this, assuming that we know all of these things. But it starts to get into more detailed things, like, all right, what do different lenses? How do we mimic the effects of lenses in our drawings? You got wide angles, 50 millimeter, long lens. Would be a different, more narrow lens, and it shows you how that would work. I'm not going to flip through every page, but it's sort of just like it goes through different types of shots and how you can use shapes within those shots, not necessarily the characters themselves, but the way that they are placed within the frame and how that contributes to your overall sense of storytelling. Like order versus chaos, complex versus simple. And what I like most about this book right here, it's all done in black and white, grayscale, and that just further by breaking down everything into values, it shows just how crucial it is about the placement of your lights and darks in your frame, right? Focal points. Like, isn't that just really cool? And like, I love how the author breaks it down into just these like really simple lines because that's really what it is. That's what your eye is seeing, but we interpret shapes in many different ways. lot of different stuff. This sort of like is like breaking down like, okay, like what happens when we start like putting these different types of shots together, you know, if we can have different frames, each with like different ways of composing the frame, how can we weave a story, right? And that is such a very difficult thing to do, and something that I am currently studying as much as I can. Because it's very difficult, and you sort of just have to study it, do it more to just get an eye for it. What's cool, it also is like starts by breaking down like character shapes that you can use. Uh, there's a lot of really, really good stuff in here. And it starts getting into panels for like comics, which is what I'm really into. So yeah, if this is something that interests you, I would recommend checking it out. It's by Marcos Matthew Mestre, and there are other books that he's made that are like in this series. Hey, you can see my reflection in there. Like, can you see me smile? No, you can't. My smile's not wide enough. But there's some really, really good stuff in here. And I just wanted to show that off because I think it's cool, and it's something that I reference quite often in my learning. Okay. I guess it's time to actually like start drawing stuff, as lame as that sounds. Oh, yeah, he actually draws. Yeah, he actually draws. I actually also get my lighting where it's supposed to be. That's another thing that I do quite frequently. It's I adjust my lighting to be perfect. So adjust my camera to be perfect, like in line with the table, preferably. You can see the edge of my little computer thing here. I'm sorry. Okay. I guess let's get started by just like showing off pretty much what I already have in the sketchbook. Can't imagine much people will be watching this, so I don't mind to sort of give you a sneak peek of the stuff that I already have in here. In case of loss, please return to. 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 As a reward, $1 million. I mean it. Okay. Here's our first page. Right here. I was messing around with watercolors, and it works better for some of them and not as good for some others. Actually, this right here is gouache, which is why it might look a little funky. That's my fault completely, because I just don't really, I'm not comfortable enough with gouache here yet. I quite like how I did this little scooter right here. Kind of happy with that. Very happy with that. Okay. This is just the vomit page. This is just me trying to figure out what this paper is capable of, because this obviously is, well, I guess not obviously, it's watercolor paper, so it's a lot thicker and the texture is a whole lot different. I guess I can get out my pen and show you. A lot of different papers will sort of be very, non-watercolor papers will be smooth. So like you can get like very clean lines, but with this right here, especially if you're using something like this is a Fuda nib. It doesn't lay completely black on a first pass. You really have to get in at it, just because the paper is raised in some sections, so it really gives this sort of splotchy looking effect. And I kind of dig that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm all for very clean black fills, but there's something about that, as you can tell through all here. It just gives it a little bit of extra character. This right here, I think I've drawn this guy probably like 7 times by now. He keeps on coming up just because he's on Pinterest a lot. Just like more faces. Right? Just like faces. And that's a little skull. And I also have right here is, you can see the light gray is like an ink wash in this little pen right here, this brush pen. I have some just ink, some Dr. Martens. I think I have it right here. It's not Dr. Martens, is it? No, it's, I gotta peel the tag off because it looks so tacky. I'm sorry. We have some Higgins black magic. It's a waterproof ink, so when it dries, that's it. But it allows you to get some, just like some midtones in there. There's a little fella right there, a little fella right there. I don't think a lot of these, besides this guy, had like a colored pencil, like circle drawn underneath them. A lot of it's freehand. Yeah, and if you can see right here, I used an alcohol marker because I was just testing to see if the alcohol marker would bleed through the page. It often does, and it did with this book. So, still yet to find a book that accepts alcohol markers without bleeding through, because I don't want to have to just do every other page to use some frickin' markers. Okay. Here we start getting into composition studies for the most part. These were taken, not taken, you know what I mean, but we were doing the Princess Mononoke art book, and I was just going through the different pieces of concept art and shots through there, just picking out the frames that I found interesting, and I tried to replicate them in black and white, really focusing on shapes. This one's a little unintelligible. You can't really tell what that is. That's my fault. But I quite enjoyed these, and I enjoyed doing them a lot. I felt like a bout of inspiration, which isn't always the case. Self-portrait, a feller. You can see where I erased right here with the ink. It smudged a bit because I was too impatient to let it dry. And I like the hands. I like the way I did the hands. I really just focused on the outline of them for the most part in the shapes, and I think they got quite a bit of character. Photo I took, reference from Pinterest, Blade Runner 2049. You can see the power of silhouettes. A lot of power in silhouettes. Here we have the last page that I did before. We're going to move on to this page right here, but I've never seen the film Minari, but that's a frame from that. This is an OG composition. I took a photograph of myself and used it as reference. And then the rest of it I sort of made up for my comic in circles that I'm working on. We're still in the concept phase, unfortunately. This is an original composition. I was just playing around with squares. Those are supposed to be people walking. This is sort of supposed to echo this right here. This is from a screenshot of Cyberpunk 2077 because I've been playing that game. I've been going around and taking a lot of screenshots. And today we will be doing quite a few screenshots from this game just because it's an utterly beautiful game and I took a lot of screenshots of it, so I might as well do something with them. I quite like this one right here. I think I struck a good balance between detail and just like perspective and shapes. Then we have just some more original compositions right here. Just like really trying to silhouettes, silhouettes are important. Okay, so that's that. I think to start out, we're gonna warm up by just doing some like, what's the word? Some like portraits, some like character stuff, I guess, from like, I'll just find some references from Pinterest and we'll just do that. So I looked at my watch and my wrist, like my watch was there. I took my watch off. But I know what today is off the top of my head. So we got 01. Oh my goodness. I have to do this in French. Jean Hiver? Is that right? I don't remember all of my months. Jean-Nivier, I knew that. I was second guessing myself. 2025. I was second guessing myself. That's what I get. It's my fault. Okay. So since we got that right there, let's go ahead and pull up some references. Okay, we're gonna go on Pinterest for that. And we'll pull this out to the side here. And we are going to minimize this tab. Sorry, you can't see everything that's going on right here. Oh my goodness. Hello, Jake. Hello, Ghostly Kid. I'm not sure who Ghostly Kid is, but hello. I'm glad you're here. Regardless, glad you could tune in for this. We're gonna look for. Uh, we're looking for exaggerated poses. I've been finding a lot of joy in doing sort of just like exaggerated poses. So we're gonna look through some of these right here and just see what we got. And you know what? We have a winner. We have a friggin' winner. So cool. Oh, Lydia. Hello, Lydia. I kind of assumed, but I didn't want to be like, that's Lydia. Okay, we're just gonna do some. This is warm up, so you cannot judge me. You literally cannot judge me for any of this. Yeah, let me make sure that my is in frame. It is in frame. As long as I stay with the table, I think I'll be in frame. We are going to we're going to be very gestural with this. We're going to draw that sort of like gesture line right there. Same thing with the arms. They're following like this pattern right here, sort of that flow. And then the legs are very like that right there. I'm not the best gesture artist, so we're gonna we're gonna call it. We're gonna rough it. So roughly we're gonna do what? What is that? 3 heads to the midsection, right? Line 1, 2, 3. That should be somewhat accurate proportions right there, I would think. If anybody knows any better, please correct me. I'm still learning. Okay, I'm still learning. And the head is sort of at like this tilt right here. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna block in sort of like the mid section, right? And it sort of curves down like that right there. Your pelvis is gonna be like right here, right? And then sort of get into your legs right here. This guy that I have here, I wish I could show my reference photo, but we're not that advanced yet. He sort of got shorts on, and his legs come down right there-ish. He's got shoes on, so we're going to represent it with that right there. I'm really not good at drawing feet, so you're going to see a lot of that here. Just the fact that I like cannot draw feet to save my life. And again, I'm sorry. I'll be a better artist one day. I swear to God. Head kind of looks like that right there. Blocking the hair. It's going to be like that right there. All right, now we get to the sort of like that right there. This is the anatomy. We sort of come down from the shoulder blades, right? And I'm going to do a lot of this right here, sort of just like referencing. And we're going to block in just those like very simple shapes. And the arm is sort of bent forward a little bit in my reference here. So we're going to represent that with a little cone. And then this right here, shoulders right there, but he has his arm raised a bit, so his shoulder is going to be a bit raised. And we're going to pop that sort of right there. That's like his arm, and then elbow, and then that right there. Feet are harder to draw than hands. I know they are. Like, I feel like I'm good at drawing hands. For the life of me, I cannot figure out the perspective on feet and stuff. It's honestly too much for me. We're gonna extend this forearm a little bit. In my reference here, it's a bit closer to his to his feet, and we're also going to bring the feet up a little bit. Same thing with the shorts. They're gonna pop there a bit more. None of this is scientific. Also, like what I'm doing right here, this like blocking in thing. I don't really have like a process yet. You agree? You love drawing hands. Drawing hands is the most fun thing ever. I don't have any in here. Oh wait, I do have some. Wait, let me show off my let me show off my previous sketchbook just because I have it on hand. Hand. I drew a lot of hands in this one. So we got like ones like that right there, right there. I have an entire page of them in here. Yeah, right there. Super fun to draw because you can get so much dynamicism out of just like drawing fingers and whatnot. And like once you like hands don't really deform that much as they move around. I mean they do with your fingers, but like the base of it, the palm kind of stays almost the same. I know it can sort of like bend in a little bit, but for the most part, it has a very general shape. So that's very easy to block in with like a trapezoid. Okay, we'll go back. Excuse me, that is so disgusting. I'm sorry, I don't know why I did that. I really don't know why I did that. Okay. Yeah, the feet are sort of like a little box right there, and they're pointed that way, so we don't see the bottom of them. So that's going to be the block for our feet right there that our shins sort of melt into, if that makes any sense. Yep. Okay. I'd say that's pretty much all that we're going to be doing here. I'll sort of like blocking the clothes a little bit since they sit differently on this fella, but we're going to do a lot with the inking here and sort of drapes right there. Yeah. Okay. Now watch this turn out looking like hot garbage because I guarantee it will. We're just warming up BT dubs. Okay. This part's a bit in shadow, so we're gonna sort of, we're gonna try and be very confident with our lines. Hey chat, what have I missed? That's funny. That's really funny. That's so funny. I said I was like, oh, I'm gonna be really confident with my lines, and I'm just immediately not being very confident with my lines. Let's switch to drawing the face. I'll do a better job drawing the face. We'll give him a big ol' ear. Why not? And his hair sort of like goes crazy like this. We'll make it do the crazy. It looks sort of like a helmet on his head. We'll accentuate it a little bit, sort of make it a bit more free flowing. Boom, boom. Okay. Waving. Hello. Really don't know like what the eyes should look like, so we're gonna give them just little dots. We're giving him crazy eyes, making him look silly. Okay. That right there. Then we're just gonna do. So here's the thing with the forearm. It has like some very weird contours. So I'm gonna try my best to sort of show that here. We're gonna go very light, so we're gonna turn the pen sort of like more vertical. Yeah, just an insinuation. And then right here, there's a occlusion shadow, so we're gonna make sure to darken that up for the most part. It sort of comes into like that shape right there. Yeah. And then hands. I know I have the hand right here, but it's gonna be like that. And then fingers sort of doing this right here. We're just gonna give the inference of fingers just by showing the shape of them. Because I don't feel like drawing them all individually. See, the thing with this dude is like his sleeves have this bit of like of a striped thing going, and they really show off the contours of his thing. So we're gonna try and replicate that with our line work here, or with our, I guess, like our black masses. Same thing with that right there. Then the wrist for the hand right here is sort of right there. That comes out. We're gonna block in that right there. Fingers, 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 then thumb right there. That's very rough looking. Oh my god. Very, very, very rough. But that's okay. It's all a learning experience, isn't it? There's a bit of a, yeah, stripe right there. So that's gonna go around like that. Cool. And then yeah, there's like a that right there. And then that's like that. We'll go ahead, and his neck is very dark compared to the rest of it, so we'll just show a bit of like the collar by pulling that up, and then we'll just go ahead and darken it the rest of it, because a lot of this is going to be very dark. He's got a big what's the word? A number 9 on his jersey. He's got this little jersey thing going on. I challenge anybody watching to go on Pinterest and find the reference that I'm using. I typed in a dynamic pose, or no, exaggerated pose, in order to find this reference. So look up that. Kahne, I think is what his thing said. So we're just gonna block that in. Okay. Okay. I'm not being very accurate with the positioning of this lettering. I'm kind of just getting it in there. E. Okay, and we'll do a fill on that later. For this line right here, it comes like in this very big swooping motion. So we're going to do that really confidently, right? Get a nice clean line. Same thing with this right here. I'm not trying to stay within the lines, of course. This is all going to be black, by the way, because it's like an orange in this image. That. Then it's very fun with the silhouette here, because it sort of like does all this like little jagged stuff. Boom, 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 boom. Make sure that's dark. Cool. And then jeans, I guess like baggy jeans is what I'd call them. Boom, boom. These sort of like point down. They sort of do a boom, do that number, and then they come up like that. Line for the crotch. Hee hee hee. Yep, that's right. I said the funny word. That. Let's darken these lines a bit since they're a bit more in shadow. We'll give a little indication of stitching right there. Right. Yeah, that looks fine to me. And then put that a bit more in shadow. Make sure he has an earlobe. Okay, and here's the hard part, because just when it gets to the legs, I just really don't. I'm not good at it, so I kind of just wing it. Sort of do that little circular thing to show that the leg is indeed a round object, a round thing. Then the feet sort of come up and they come out, and they follow sort of this, come in. We're looking at like this box shape right here, so the shoes have like a side plane right there, toes. And then here's where I have the hard part. It's when like the top of the foot connects back to the shin. That doesn't look awful, but you know, it doesn't look very good either. But you know how we fix that? By just making it dark. And then for the back there's this like little black tangent, which is the other shoe. Boom. Okay. Now we're just going to go ahead and fill in the rest of this guy's jersey, and I think that will be it for this sketch right here. We'll leave a bit of like white here. This is the fun part because I have to do this entire massive fill with just this one pen. I have other markers, but they're running low on ink, so be very spotty. Very spotty as in not completely opaquely black like this is. Wait, we talking about feet? That's very funny. You can't tell, but I'm laughing right now. I am actually laughing right now. We're going to try and preserve the integrity of these letters that I'm inking over right here. Does that look like a 9? It looks like a 9. I'm also breaking a rule of hatching by not preserving the direction of it or following any sort of contour whatsoever. That's good enough for me. Okay, we're gonna move on to une autre, another one. I've been going for 37 minutes already. Damn, we'll do one more before we move on to some composition sketches because that's really what I want to get to today. I guess it's not. It's only 7:24. We got like 30 minutes left, right? Ooh. This one right here is an interesting one. It's just an old dude who's walking. And that seems like it would be pretty damn cool. We're gonna go over this with some ink. Why not? Right? Doesn't look too good with the red, but it adds just a little bit of midtones, a little bit of variance, and also a little bit of shadow where we need it to be, like right there. Hands. Right. Okay. Moving on to the next. We have an old dude who is just like walking right here. So we're going to start off with that. His neck is sort of like turned in like that. We're getting really specific with the spine here. Spine's like that. He's got a very straight sort of posture like that. Right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Feet. Does that work? I hope it works. He doesn't really have much of a neck here, so we're just gonna do that right there. Do another lump for his pelvis, even though the pelvis should be down here, right? Technically, because that's where the where that is. What's that called? I have it written down somewhere, but it like has like the shape right here. Where I guess from the side, it's more like a like comes in like that and then points up like that. Anyways, that's at the bottom of your pelvis, right there. His shoulders come down like probably about right there. We're trying all different kinds of ways to draw. His foot's out like that, like that. Yeah. Like blocking in his junk. His rear end, his derriere, his gluteus maximus. And his foot's sort of like other leg is sort of just like that, I guess. Makes sense. Posture is not very good. And arm comes a bit like that. And he's looking away, so his back is turned. Boom, boom. Can't really see his jawline either. Cool. And then we'll say that his ankles are about right there. Throw his feet up. It's like little triangles. God, I hate drawing feet. I absolutely hate drawing feet. Sort of back around a bit out here too. Okay. I'd say that's as good as it's gonna get. Make sure that trajectory is followed. Okay, yeah, that's good enough for the outline. We'll start with the face, I guess, just because that's the most like interesting in terms of like silhouette. So his sort of nose comes down, glasses right there, boom, boom, and then his chin goes out, and it just comes back in like that right there. His ears sort of like up here, and he's just sort of got like hair, right? And it comes back down like that, and his collar comes down like that. And there's like this little shape right here, like a little triangle shape that sort of follows his chest. It comes down like that, and then that's going to be that line right there. Collar comes back, that, and his shoulder sort of starts right there. But we're going to definitely get this back shape right there. And it sort of like comes in right there with a fold, tucks up a little bit, where his lumbar is, right at the bottom of it, I guess. He's got some like little raggedy sleeves. Boop. And they sort of like form that shape-ish, right? Forearms sort of very thin. And his hand is just like boop, boop, boop. Fingers come down like that. Very wide fella. He's got like pants on. We'll indicate that with sort of this right here. Boom. His rear, that sort of like folds into his pants right here. This right here, we're gonna do a lot of shadowing with this leg right here because there's a very big cast shadow. So it's really just gonna be this big shape right here. It's the front of his pant, and for the back of it, not a lot of shadow, so it's really just gonna come in like that. That's like the bottom of his pant leg. Yep. And then for this right here, there's definitely a lot of shadow. Especially as we get into right there. Boom. And then it curves in maybe just ever so slightly once you get to his shoe. Comes up. There's this little bit of negative space right here. And then for like the shadow cast by his pants sort of comes up right there, and then it gets boom, and then it goes like that right there. Look at that black fill. Don't even have to worry about doing a lot of detail. Shadows communicate a lot. Boom. And it sort of like makes like that little shape right there. This is making you want to draw people. I usually only draw faces. Me too. Literally, me too. When it comes to like drawing people, we're gonna pull out the old sketchbook again because I draw a lot of faces. You know, like shoulders up. One, just because I want to get better at drawing faces, right? Because faces are so like they have so much nuance, so I want to be able to get good at that. But definitely, like, I don't draw a lot of like full body stuff. I have before, but definitely not anytime recently. I've done just like a lot of like portraits. Really just trying to nail down expressions, facial proportions. That's ugly. So yeah, I'm definitely I am 100% in the same boat as you. I want to draw more people because I just don't. I don't enough. He's got some shadows here, I guess. We'll do some of that with that right there. We're going very shadowy with this. We're going very Mike Magnola with these right here. He's got a very dark shadow going there. I made him very top heavy, as you can see. He sort of looks like an egg. Indication of the hair right there. And then, oh my god. Shoulders up, is the safe space? I feel that. I-F-E-E-L that. I feel that. Alright. Shoes. We're just gonna do a few quick lines for that because I don't want to spend too much time on that. An interesting thing about the feet is that, I don't know, like, if anyone's ever, like, thought about it here, but, oh my, your feet are about the length of your forearm. And whenever you draw feet, you're sort of like, oh, your feet are like pretty small compared to the rest of your body. But like hold your foot up to your forearm right here. Your foot will go more or less from like your elbow to like your wrist. Freaky. When I learned that, had a bit of a weird sort of like heart attack. I was like, everything that I know is a lie. Not a lie, but this foot goes sort of like back right there. Big chunky shadow right there as well. And right back there. Old man walking. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty ballerific. Okay, I think that's some pretty good for like warming up for sort of getting light and nimble. I'm going to switch over to doing some more like composition like I do like right here and right here. So I'm sorry if we got very comfortable doing the full body sketches right here, but we're going to be switching up gears. Oh, I got a little bit of ink on the page. That's okay. Make it work. We're also gonna cover up his pants a little bit, maybe like underneath, right there. Since we're working with a wet medium, the goal is not to be perfect or anything, you know. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna switch over to doing some thumbnail sketches for composition. And to do that, we have our handy dandy compositions, what you came for. Okay, perfect. We're gonna be doing. We have some thumbnail cards here, but that's how I was able to get these right here. I just cut these out of like, these were some old credit cards. I have a video on my channel if anyone wants to go check that out. But this was made with just like some like cardstock, I believe. But I measured them out. This one right here is widescreen. It's 1.85 to 1, I think. Don't quote me on that. I'd have to go back and look at what I did exactly, but you know, it's widescreen. We'll just call it widescreen. In order to do the lines for this, we are going to be using. We're going to be using my Lamy Safari, just because it's better for getting even lines. This is my little carrying case, by the way, for my stuff. Pretty cute, isn't it? Okay. See, I love having these little thumbnail boxes, you know, thumbnail cards, because I can just boom, boom, boom. I don't have to worry about any of it. Just be like, yeah, that's widescreen. Perfect. I don't have to give it any more thought, and it's replicable through and through. Also, thank you everybody for watching today. I haven't drawn earlier today. Normally I would have drawn by today, but I was putting it off until now just because I'd be drawing right here, right now. So thank you. You get to see me do my practice, do all my practice. Can I fit a widescreen here? We can. We can do even smaller ones. We can do even smaller ones. Yes. ASMR. Pen on paper. I love this sound. Saved up motivation. Yeah, I was building it up like money in a savings jar. I was like, today I will use the motivation. Right now I will use the motivation. So yeah. I have a better. Okay. For those who do not know me and who I have not told, I bought a. Hello, Wesley. I love you too. I bought this new microphone today. I'm not using it currently because I'm just streaming from my phone right here. But hopefully in the future, I'll start streaming on my computer through OBS, and we'll be using this microphone, so the audio will be of better quality. That's the dream, anyways. Okay. We're gonna quit for that. Okay, so for this little section right here, I have some screenshots that I have from Cyberpunk 2077. I don't know if anybody here has played that game, but I have been playing the absolute. Wait, can I cuss on here? I've been playing the shit out of it, and I've been taking so many screenshots of the game, trying to get really interesting compositions because you can do more in a video game than you can in real life with photo mode. Because I have to physically be at a place in order to get a photo in real life. So we got some screenshots from the game. This is from Cyberpunk, these two right here. Do I have any more from Cyberpunk? I don't think I do in here. These are from Princess Mononoke, for those who weren't here at the beginning of the stream. Fun stuff. Okay, let's get started. We're gonna do some basic shape blocking with the Lamy Safari here. Just trying to get in sort of just a rough perspective. Very, very, very rough perspective. I'm not trying to go too dark right now. Our horizon line is roughly right here, I think. Now, don't quote me on that because I'm going to mess it up later. I just know. I normally do. I'm not the king of perspective. I never claim to be. We have like a little box right here, right? And that sort of comes out a little bit. Little box, and it has another little box in front of it. Go figure. Just here to make my life just that much more difficult. And that's where it goes to 4 and it runs out right there, right? Boom, boom, boom. And then we have sort of this like overwhelmingly large shape right here that is a building and sort of recedes that ways right there. We got sort of like a large shape back here. And here's the most fun part of this image that I really like is that we have like this like pipe that's right here, and it's got some perspective to it. It's we're working in 2-point right now, but it sort of comes up right there and sort of bends upward right there. So we're gonna see a little bit of that with it, and then it sort of goes in right there, and then immediately drops down. I wish I could show my reference image right now. I could probably show it on my computer, but it wouldn't really look all that good on the camera, so we're not going to worry about it. Just promise, or I promise to you that this is all how it is. And I think that's pretty much good for that right there. Those are sort of like the big basic shapes that are blocked in. We're just going to go in and sort of just start blocking in more darkness. So our horizontal line is generally right there. We have this sort of, there's like a gate on this side. So we're just gonna, that's like the center of the gate. If that makes any sense. And we're not trying to be perfect here. I really just want to communicate the shapes and the silhouettes more than anything, if that makes any sense. We have this bit of the grate right here that sort of rises up. Boom. Make sure those connect somewhat right there. Then they sort of like bend out this ways. Boom. This one right here is a bit smaller and a bit thinner, so we're just gonna do a big thick line like that. Boom. So there's this one concept when it comes to inking that I want to get better at. It's the fact that not all of your lines need to connect in order to look good, because your eye will fill in that blank right there. So stylistically, it is a very useful tool to say, like, I'm not going to draw a straight line. I'm going to break it up a bit in order to add some textural flavor, and that's something that I want to get better at as I move uh, through life. Is life the term for that? Yeah, and then that right there. As we get further away from the camera, um, we lose a lot of detail. So we're not going to be doing a lot of like fine line work down there. Sort of. Also, there are rules in perspective when it comes to figuring out how to measure out objects that are equally placed from each other, going down, receding away from you. I technically know how to do it. I don't want to do it right here. That shit is so tedious. Pardon my French. Pardonnez mon français, s'il vous plaît. Yeah. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. And in my reference here, there's other big old block things that are like in between. So we're gonna do like sort of that right there. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. I'm doing the cardinal sin of like working on anything is that I'm like doing all the detail right off the bat. But this gate is just so like it's in the foreground. I fucked up right there. I'm sorry. You know, this gate's like in the foreground. So I just want to get it out of the way. And then boom, boom, boom. Lines right there don't really need to match up all that much. They're just, and then it just becomes hatching as we get further along. We're going to move to sort of this little tubular thing right here. This is just going to be a big, big shadow shape. Just huge, sort of overwhelming. And we're going to sort of indicate it behind the grates by doing like this little number right here. Yeah. That's good enough. I still want to show off that there's a bit of a gate there, so we're going to break that up a bit. And then it sort of curves. We're going to square that out a bit more. And it like comes down and curves back up. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. We're not going to worry about shadows on this puppy. Or we're not going to worry about doing detail, too much detail. We're not going to do minute shadows. We just want to get shapes down. We want to communicate our shapes quickly and efficiently. I'm going to widen that up a bit because it's not receding too quickly. Cool. And if you, it's got like these little like things that hang down that I think look cool. think those look pretty cool. There's also like this like light here, but I don't know if I want to add that because I think it would just like mess with that right there. So we're not going to do that. As far as like our light is concerned, I feel like it's coming from this way mainly is how I want to show that. There's like a little square right here on our horizon. We'll put that there. Same thing like in the back right here we have just these like very like these like receding shapes that are on our horizon. Right there. Yep, that works. Boom, boom. That's like curved. We'll show a bit of that curve right there. Yeah, the big dark shape. Big dark shape. And then there's a thing behind it. In order to just to show that there's a thing behind it, I'm gonna leave that sort of light, you know, give it a bit of texture. But now we know there's a thing that's like directly behind it. Okay, and then there's really just like a big building off to the side of it. So there's not a lot that I need to show here. We know our horizon is right here, correct? So we should probably be more like that, right there. And then, yeah, this is just like a big, almost like building. There's like a grate there, so we're just gonna give it a bit of indication of it right there. Yeah, and then we're gonna do a black fill. Also, keep in mind that I am not a master at this. None of this is very like technical. I really am just like doing a lot of observation here. So don't take anything that I say to be like gospel, because I am figuring it out as much as I can, as well as I can. Okay. Yeah, and then just as far as like the this goes, there's like a shadow thing going on right here, so we'll just do like this right here, sort of receding, right? And then as we get closer, we'll sort of drench it with more shadow. That way we can show that like it's getting a little further away by like increasing our like brush strokes. I say brush strokes like I'm not using a metal tipped fountain pen nib, but it mimics brush strokes. That's what's important. I don't want to muddy up the foreground too much with all that business. Cool. Okay, I say that looks pretty good. Now we're gonna do some like background shapes because we have some background shapes in right here. We've got another one of these like thingies that sort of recess into another building in the distance. So we're going to show off that there's another building back there by adding this big gray blob. Then it sort of like does like a little rounded thing up top there, right? Comes down, around, then try and get that to look as even as we can. Yeah, pretty good. And then there is like a big like bridge going behind everything, but I already have so much going on right here. I don't think that I want to do that, but there is like a big pillar right here behind the grate, and I think if we just like go over this very darkly, we can show that off without doing too much detail. With like this right here, there's like that's in shadow. That's white on gray, that's good. And I think we're just gonna, for the foreground, we're just gonna do this. As it like gets further in, we're gonna try and like almost like do like a dry brushy effect here. Then yeah. Then there's more like stuff over there. I think that's it for that one. I think it's pretty good. We're gonna darken all this stuff up right here because this isn't too important, I don't think. Heck yeah. I think that looks somewhat decent as far as like communication goes, like communicating these sorts of things. Let's go ahead and mark that it is indeed Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk. Oh my goodness, I do this a lot. I try and write a 7, but I end up writing a 2 because I'm used to writing the 2 right there. That's so embarrassing. That's so embarrassing. Okay. Let's move on to another one here. Let's do I like this one? Do I like this one? Ooh, yeah. Do I like this one? This one's got a lot of detail. Maybe not perfect for what I'm doing right here. Trying to like go through it quick. You know what? I got one right here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. We're gonna do the same thing. We'll do the layout with this pen now just to show you how it works differently. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna try and keep the notebook more centered on the frame. I apologize for that. We got this thing going on. We got what is essentially a 3-point perspective thing going on right here. And our horizon and whatnot should be roughly right here, I believe. And this is our center line right here. So all vertical lines are going to converge to an imaginary vanishing point up here. And if you want to know more about vanishing points, I'm really not your guy for that. Sorry, I'm just really not good at figuring out where vanishing points are. I try. But what I do know is that we have this little like sort of like curved thing going on right here, and it sort of comes down to about 3/4, maybe like what is that? 5/8 of our image, probably down to about halfway right there. Then it sort of comes down again to what is a little bit below our horizon line right here. No, maybe it's a bit more above. Actually, no, it's like right. It's pretty much just like right here. It's gonna come in just like a little bit. Or I guess if it's going away, it's gonna be going to this one right here. So yeah, and then if it's receding away this way to the left, it's gonna be coming in slightly. And since this is in like an enclosed space, there's like a ceiling. So, but that also means there's another like room right here. So this is all converging to a point that's like in the distance right here. So there's that right there. And this is pretty much on par with our horizon line, I'm pretty sure. Then this goes way up here. This goes a little bit of the ways up. Lots of fun shapes going on here, though. And that right there sort of like goes up a bit. Straight lines and whatnot. And I think that's all the information that we really need for this right here. So I'm just going to start again blocking in the shapes, blocking the shadows and whatnot. We got like this like thing going on right here where we have some overhead lights. I'll show that by like doing little circles and sort of like go back. Yeah, there, right there. They go far back there. That's almost like a little dark area, but it like comes down right here, and there's like this light thing. Very dark all this though, right here. But for this right here, this little bit, keep in mind that we have a slight 3-point perspective thing going on right here. So vertical lines need to converge at sort of this imaginary vanishing point up here, meaning this has to as well. Then there's like a TV screen right here, which if we go just based on like parallels and whatnot, that's sort of angled like that. The really crummy thing about having boxes and stuff that are like attached to other things and stuff like this is that every box has its own vanishing point, and that is a pain to figure out. It is very, very difficult. Very, 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 very difficult, very annoying. But we're just gonna eyeball it using our picture plane, the frames of our picture plane as reference. That sign sort of like says some stuff on it. Not important though. That curves around. That curves down like that. Here's the fun thing right here. There's like a little AC unit that sticks out of the wall, and it has a sign on it. I don't feel like doing the sign on there. I think that's going to muddy up everything that we're doing here. So we're just going to do that. Yeah, I'd say that works. And then underneath the sign, there's a little division right here. Boom, boom. This right here sort of like recedes in the shadow quite a bit. There's technically a thing right here, but there's that. Same thing with like the ceiling. We got like more overhead lights. So if we imagine that sort of being the thing to our ellipses. Yep, that's a circle, all right. It's more like that right there, I guess. Drawing lights or ellipses is also not one of my strong suits. My goodness. Oh my goodness. But good news is, with that right there, that completes pretty much our shadow up here. And there's a little bit of a light that goes around, so we'll leave that sort of bit. We'll leave a little light right there. Oops. Sort of went over the light there. That's okay. We'll make it a bit smaller. Again, do a fill. That right there. Make sure we can see our frame. Say that's good. Okay. And then that sort of goes in right there. And then here's this thing here. We have like this I guess you could call it a bar that sort of like curves around. And we have two gentlemen sitting here, two dudes. I'm just gonna block them in with like shapes, just because I don't feel like doing a lot of. I don't really feel like blocking out their anatomy. Just know that they generally look a bit like this. This dude's got his arm out on like a table or whatever, and his legs pointed inwards. And he's sitting on a silly little chair that does a little curvy thing. Then it recedes back down into there. So there's that guy, and then Feller's got a friend sitting right there, back sort of like that. Boom, sort of standing like that. Then legs come down there, boots come down generally right there. Yeah, that works. We're just insinuating characters here. And then they have like sort of, there's like a black line that goes right here to show the counter. Right? And then that recedes in a bit. Does it? Does it? It does now. Then they have sort of this little thingy right here that goes around them. Yeah. And then there's a lot of like things right here. And I don't really feel like drawing all the detail for that. So we're just gonna do some shapes like that. Okay, we're starting to get there. We're starting to get there. All of this, none of this is important on this wall right here. So we're just gonna F-I-L-L that I-N. Are they flirting? They might be flirting. But you know what? We have to interject some story into this right here, right? So yes, they are flirting. But one of them, this guy right here, he his husband just died, and he's just getting back out into Night City, trying to try to find comfort in others. And he met this guy who's a construction worker, um, who is curious about his sexuality. And so they just started getting into chatting, uh, but they both end up dying at the end because nobody can really find love in a place like Night City. That's the most depressing thing ever. Sorry for that. Didn't mean to be so sad there. This back wall too. Superfluous. There's not much going on back here. Okay. Okay, I'm liking this. I'm liking this right here. Okay. I think our shapes are working good enough. We're gonna go ahead and do an ink wash on it. We're gonna do an ink wash on it to just like cement in our shapes. We're gonna do our ceiling right here. Cool. Back wall, do right there. Make that nice and dark. Then we'll do sort of this little bit right here where that goes back into a corridor. We'll also do the floor right here. Having just like access to just a little bit of ink to do an ink wash really helps. It adds another value to it, right? You get this nice sort of like mid-tone that just helps just that much more to sort of show your shapes off. And I'm just going to show off the side planes of these things right here. We know that that sort of like pops off right there. Same thing with that, which goes down like right there. It's not perfect, but who is perfect? Pas moi, pas moi. Sort of do the signs right there. And I could do this little bit behind them. Sort of frame them a bit in that midtone. Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. And with that, we have just a little composition, just a little bit of a story, an insinuation of a story, which is the best thing that you can do whenever you are whenever you're doing like compositions, right? It's like you want to show a narrative. Narratives are very important when it comes to visual storytelling. So I'm gonna act like I came up with all that originally, actually. we're gonna make sure that's all original. Okay, for the rest of these, we're gonna make them a bit smaller. We're not gonna go as detailed. Again, we're gonna try and get these shapes down. We'll go ahead and we'll rapid fire these three right here, and then we'll call it a night. Night City. Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk 2077. I'm just talking right now. I'm just saying words. I'm just saying words. Okay, so with this right here, our horizon line, oh, it's so conveniently right here. And it is perpendicular to the picture plane by the looks of it. Thank the Lord. That's amazing. You don't always get that. And then we have this big sort of pillar right here that's sort of coming, it's not perpendicular or parallel to the picture plane. It's sort of leaning in slightly. And it's got this right here. It's this beautiful like light, this round light that reminds me of something of Star Wars. But that's going to be a really nice element for our foreground. Cool. Okay. So we have this like thick beam right here. That's our horizon line by the looks of it. That comes down or comes across like that. And it's got another bit of it that's like right above it that is sort of receding away from us. And then we got another sort of, since we're like a bit higher, since we're technically like above looking down, we're in another, what's the word? We're in another 3-point perspective where our third vanishing point is actually down here. So we're going to keep that in mind because the center of our frame is obviously the camera. Or we're going to insinuate that it's down right there. So everything is sort of going to angle slightly down towards it, all vertical lines and whatnot. Here's the fun part with this. This sort of comes down a bit like that right there, and it's got another one of those lights. And because it's sort of away like that, we're going to treat it as if we're like doing a box. We're going to treat it as if it was one form. Not a science, by the way. I truly don't know what I'm doing. Then that's a big dark shape. Again, not as thick though. Not as thick. Perfect. And here's another thing that I really love about this image that I have right here. There are these like, what is it? These pipes that are like connected to the ceiling way up here, and they sort of like connect down like right there-ish. So sort of like this, whatever this shape is right here. So cool. Like a neat little, like a little framing object that's just like built into the environment. And we got like a ceiling up here. We're gonna darken it up a bit just to show that, it gets a bit darker up here. And then we have another one of these things sort of like over here, right? Sort of messed up on the perspective of that. Forgive me. Forgive me. Like right there. It's gonna be like that, right? Not perfect, obviously, but it's gonna be serviceable. We're gonna get the job done. Nice. Then there's another one back here. That's going back up there. Very cool. And then like down here we have like this like table that's sort of like going down over here. Potential to have a lot of visual clutter, but we'll just this guy doesn't know what perspective is. He doesn't know how to do perspective. A lot of visual clutter that I'm trying to clean up here. Lots of, again, just like dark boxes everywhere. Then sort of gets less important as we get back here. And sort of like all through here, there are these like clothes, what it looks like. So we're just going to draw like insinuations of all of these things. And we'll probably go in with the brush pen here in a sec to give that a little bit more, what's the word? A little bit more insinuation of form. And you have these sort of like floor tiles that are doing this thing as they go back. And we're not going to do more beyond that. I don't want it to get too cluttered, which it's already running the risk of doing right here. So we're just going to darken in sort of our floor here. Show that that is indeed a floor. Then since our horizon line is up there, we'll say it goes up and flat. Then bottom of the floor. And then for the clothes, we'll just like, they're like hanging over the table, hanging below the table. And then we have just like these pipes and stuff behind. Maybe some things up in the rafters. I don't want to do too much right there. Okay, I think that's enough for that one. I don't want to overwork it, and I think we captured enough of that. What else do we have here? Ooh, this one's fun. This is inside of, if people are familiar with Cyberpunk, Wakako's pachinko parlor. And she has like an attendant sitting inside of a booth. So I went ahead and captured that. But what's fun about this is that we have a character that we can anchor something to, and she's got this like ponytail thing, right? She's got ears. Good lord, she has ears. Just gonna try and get the shape of her down, sort of like arm, body. She's got like her hand up right there, and she's wearing like this dress that sort of comes around like that right there. So this is our main character of the scene in the foreground, and she's sort of got this desk that she's sitting, or like counter that she's sitting at. What's fun about this counter is that it has a little window. And since it's basically at eye level, we can keep these lines perpendicular to our picture plane and not really have to fuss about it all that much. We don't have to worry about 3-point perspective BS. My thing is in frame, correct? Yes. Okay. We're gonna show that frame. That's that right there. And we're also going to, we're gonna darken in that right there, her desk, because there's nothing important on it, nothing that we need to see. Right, it's just a black mass that we don't really want to draw attention to, and it nicely divides up our frame here. Gives it a bit of dynamicism, I guess. It's the other bit of that right there. And there's a lot of stuff going on back right here. We will probably darken that up a bit with our ink wash here at the very end, but there's another sort of like framing device going on right here with like the walls, and they sort of come down a bit, and that right there. And then we have this character who is right here, who, if we use sort of like, if we just sort of guess the eye line of it, he's got like he's stanced up. Right there. And then behind him, we have another sort of like black shape. We'll call it a hallway. It's not really a hallway, but for the purposes of this right here, we'll call it a hallway. Yeah, we'll do like a white, black, sort of alternating thing right there. And we'll give the hint of a face right there. Okay. That's pretty much all that we have to do for that right there. Again, not too detailed. We'll go ahead and do our foreground right here. This is also like a sheet of glass. You know, it's like a glass pane. So that'll show off that a little bit. Then, same for this, but we'll dry brush it a bit. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Pretty good, as if it's not just like a bunch of scribbles on a page, but you know. We're giving off vibes. We're giving off vibes. Okay, here's something I want to try. This is the exact same angle, or the exact same scene right here, but just from a different angle. We got a ceiling fan. We're looking at it instead from the perspective of like a ceiling fan that is like right up here. Right, this is like, say like that's the ceiling. We got this big, juicy, black sort of like trapezoidal shape with a fan that sort of like comes down like that right there. And we got this like this, that. Then we got these fan blades that are coming out of it. And they extend out far into our frame. And what's fun about these is they can just be big black shapes. I think, at least. Again, I apologize for not showing the reference image up right now. In the future, I hope to figure out how to do that. That's just not something that like I have the capability of doing right now, but in the future, in the future, I'll be able to have the reference image that I'm using up while I'm doing said image. Um, yeah, okay. And then our other blade sort of comes out right there, and it's got a bit of a highlight on it, I guess, from where it's three-dimensional. So we'll show that off. It's got another bit that's sort of right here that sort of like goes off into nowhere. And our final blade is like here-ish. Again, trying to keep these loose. Technically, there's another blade back in here, so we'll darken that up. Yeah. Okay. So there's that right there, and then we have the same person sitting at a desk back behind here, and we'll show that off by again because we're up high, we're looking up and like down. There's a vanishing point that is down here off of the page. So we're just going to keep that in mind when we have our sort of verticals like this, you know. And we're just going to assume our vanishing point is somewhere in the middle of the frame since that's where the camera was, assuming that we didn't like do any fancy camera turning or anything. That right there, and then sort of like goes down like that. Yeah, and then we have our same individual sitting at the table, or not at the table, but at the thing. And we're going to indicate that with sort of that little blob of darkness right there. And then sort of like this sort of all recedes into shadow. We got some more shapes right here from like other things are there, and we got a doorway. So we'll plop the rest into shadow. Maybe show a bit of highlight. And then for all this, I don't want to do much right over here, right? Because that fan is really the focus of all of this. So I'm not going to do much over here. We're actually just going to, I think we're just going to do our ink wash. Like in here, right here for the fan, right? Sort of that right there. And I think maybe just for like her little desk, then we'll show just like the insinuation of stuff back behind here using some of that. And then same thing with that right there. Boom. I hope you can tell what that is. Wait, let me look at the camera here. Let me pretend like I'm somebody who's not uh, looking at my reference photo right now. Can I tell what that is? Real questions. Okay, I can kind of tell what that is. I'd say that's a mission successful. Yippee! And then, do I have to label all of these Cyberpunk 2077? I think I do. Just because that's fun to do. It's fun to write. I love writing. I love like handwriting so much. That's why I have all these fountain pens because they're both fun to draw with and just fun to write with. Um, yeah, I just like I absolutely love writing. I bought a new fountain pen, actually. I don't have it up here with me, unfortunately. Oh, wait, no, I do. Wait. So I have my Lamy Safari right here, and this is just like your typical like starter pen with just a fine nib right here. It gives you very consistent line weight. No matter how you do it, you can go lighter if you want, but for the most part, pretty standard line weight. Then you have your so pleasing to watch. Thank you. And then you have your Sailor Fude de Menin, I guess. Again, it has a little curved nib, meaning that I can get really fine lines if I hold it like that, or if I hold it perpendicular to the page, but then I can get nice juicy black lines if I hold it like that. And you can get tons of like line variance in one stroke, depending on like how you hold it. I love this pen very much. I love this pen so very much. Today, or not today, it was the other day, I received this pen right here. This right here is the journal that I'm using to write my comic in. We have sort of like, anyways, writing. I'm using this pen for writing. This is the Pilot Kakuno. The Pilot Kakuno is a starter pen for like Japanese school children, I'm pretty sure, but you can buy it online. I got a clear casing. I don't know if this is going to show up on camera. Let me hold it up right here. I don't know if you can see that, but it has a little smiley face on it. Is that not like the cutest thing that you've ever seen? Yeah, I think you can see the smiley face. Anyways, this has an incredibly fine. This is what is called an extra fine nib. And one thing that's very interesting about Japanese fountain pens is that they typically are ground to be more fine than their like Western counterparts. So a fine nib in Japan is more like an extra fine nib on like a Western fountain pen. You know what I mean? Thank you, Wesley. You're the cutest thing. So this is an extra fine nib, as you can see, and it has such fine, fair lines. And I don't use this for drawing, but if I wanted to do hatching, I mean, just look at that. I want to get another pen that I can use for drawing that has sort of this extra fine nib, because that is something special. But for now, I'm just using it to write in this Leuchtturm journal right here, because I need something that I don't have to press hard with and that I can fit a lot into a small area. Cyberpunk. $2077. Cyberpunk. $2077. And Cyberpunk. Oh my god, can't write. So yeah, if you have never written with a fountain pen before, or if you've never drawn with a fountain pen, they are incredibly cheap, and they will change the way that you tackle drawing. They have for me, definitely. I love them so much. This one was like $10. This pen right here, which I love, $10. Um, this pen a bit more expensive. It was like $20, $25, but such a nice pen. If you want something that's nice and reliable, choose one of these three right here. Okay. I'm looking at my stream right here. I've been streaming for an hour and 45 minutes, which is a lot for me. Like it's currently only 8:32 p.m., but like I feel like it's like 10 o'clock at night. So thank you for everybody that watched. I had a blast. I love I love doing stuff like this, and I'm glad that I can sort of share it with all of you. I do plan on streaming. I want to try to stream every Wednesday night around this time, just because that's when I have some free time, and I would love it if more people would, would jump in and would jump in and just like to talk with me or just like watch me ramble about a bunch of random stuff. Thank you, Habes. You learned a lot. I'd like I know that's like an incidental comment, and that's a very kind thing to say, but that warms my heart so much. That is such a nice thing for someone to say. Uh, Thank you, genuinely, thank you. Wait, can I point the camera at myself? I feel like I'm just like talking. All right, get one final look at everything in here before I turn the camera away. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Can I do this? Is the camera going to be upside down? Real questions. Oh my god. The camera is upside down. Wait, let's turn it. Holy crap. You get to see my face up close. Hello. Okay. Thank you for watching. I hope everybody has a great night. I hope everybody has had a great New Year's. Drawing at the same time while watching. Yes, more of that. We need more artists to come together and just like draw together. Ooh, a fun idea for the future would be to have sort of like do like a multi-stream, I guess, or like stream with other people and talk about art. I think that would be really dope. I need to build a bigger community first before I do something like that. But yeah, hope everybody has a great night, and I will catch you on the flip side. Good night. Oh my god. How do I end this?